Hello, everybody. Welcome to Journal of Journeys, number 6. We have a special guest here, Charlotte Haynes. Most of you guys know about her husband already, but we're not going to get too much into her husband. We're just going to stick with her. Thank you for being here today. She is a powerhouse woman, I got to say. She has 4 daughters. She owns a business. She is a life coach, and she does so many things. I've seen her business, and it's spectacular. There's so much things in there that you offered. It's not just for one specific area, but it's so much for more people. Like a diverse of culture that can go in there and get what they need to get. My mom was talking. I was telling her about that, and I said, she sells some nice stuff. She's like, oh, I'm gonna go check it out. And she's like, oh, this. So she has some of the stuff that I've been looking for. But before we get into deep, I wanted to talk to you about more of your personal life. In this when we started this journal of journeys, we wanted to kind of cater towards more of the individual's life and how they got to where they are now.
Okay.
Please tell
Good
us a
thing I
little
had
bit
some
about
practice.
yourself. Growing up.
Growing up, so born in New Orleans, raised in Fresno. I'm the oldest of six kids, three boys, three girls. And I was born to two teen parents. My mom was 16. I think my dad was 18, 19 years old. Um, and I moved to California when I was around 6 years old. And so, um, yeah, I was pretty much raised in Fresno and
Well,
living that life.
in New Orleans, I I have not been to New Orleans, but I always heard that they have a good way of making food. They're some
Yeah.
of the what do they make over there?
Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing is probably like gumbo.
Yes.
A lot of seafood,
Hmm.
and there's a heavy French um, um, uh, what is that called?
Influence? Yeah.
Influence. Yeah, heavy French influence, and you can see it with all the buildings,
Oh,
with just about
wow.
everything, and a lot of the cuisine. And then they have a famous uh, like cafe there, Cafe Du Monde, and they sell those from Princess Tiana, call them the man catching beignets,
Mm,
which is basically a powdered
that sounds
donut.
fancy.
I know. That sounds really good.
Yeah. And then but yeah, and that actual cafe, the government actually, or really, yeah, they saved Cafe Du Monde. They put money into the city specifically for that cafe because it brings so much revenue in from all over the world
Right.
to New Orleans, and so they chose to put money. I think it was during the after the hurricane. After the hurricane, they ended
Mm.
up, really pouring into that. But yeah, lots of seafood, Creole style food there. Lots and lots of flavor.
Do you still have family there?
Yeah, all of my family is there
Huh?
besides my mom and my siblings. Like everyone's there.
Oh.
My
Have you gone
dad.
back recently to visit?
Yeah, the last time I went back was probably prior to the pandemic. We had started a tradition of going every year for the Essence Festival, which is
Mm.
Essence is a black magazine, but they created a whole festival celebrating African American community through beauty,
Yeah.
finance, everything you can think of. So it's a huge event that lasts about 3 or 4 days, and they have it every July. So the end of June to the beginning of July. So we'll probably make it
Mm.
there next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How fun.
Yeah.
Now, when you were growing up, and I think earlier you said you were the oldest of your
Yes.
siblings. Growing up, what what was your first job that you started working as?
Oh, real job?
A real job that
Or anything
or
that earn income,
yes,
huh?
anything that earned income.
Uh,
Everybody has a side hustle.
yeah,
Everybody has a side
yeah.
hustle, but you don't have to say anything that.
No, I mean, I think I already shared my little basket story of, putting my together the little, back in the day, you had to put your baskets away, and they made you put a quarter
Mhm.
into the little slot in order to get a basket out to ensure that people return the basket and not just leave them
Yeah.
all over the place. And so I figured out like, oh, if I wanted $2 for that day or $3, I could just go through the parking lot because people still wouldn't put their basket
Yeah.
back, and then I would just connect them and then get my money for my little treats
A
that
day
I
of work,
wanted.
huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it is. I mean, it's a lot of in Fresno. It's really, really hot, 105, 110
Yeah.
degrees on a regular basis. Um, so yeah, I would do that little hustle. I would. I also had a payphone hustle. I don't know if people don't remember the
What?
payphone, but I figured out, and this is like I'm 9 or 10 years old. I figured out that you could put in the area code, and then it would tell you how much it cost to, you know,
Oh,
use that
interesting.
call. Then I would call the operator and tell them I lost my money. Well, I lost my money once, and it was only like a quarter.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do I get my quarter back? And then they said, you call zero, dial zero, and then you tell us, and then we'll give you your quarter back. They'll mail you a check. And I'm like, how do you get more than a quarter? So
Wow.
I figured out like a New York number or something. It was like $2.75. But the hilarious thing is, I'm like 9, 10 years
Yeah.
old, right? So they send me this check, and it's like $2.75. How am I gonna cash a
Right?
check? So little old me, we had a liquor store down the street from our house, and I knew everyone went to a liquor store to cash their checks, or it's like a check cashing place.
Yeah.
So I take this check, and it wasn't even my real name. It was just like my name, my nickname, because I didn't know
No.
you have to give them real. So I'm like, I'm all small, and I'm like, I would like to cash this check. And then the guy's just looking at me
Yeah.
like, what? By the time I charge you a fee, you won't even have any money. So he cashed a check for me just to be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that is nice.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's impressive. I don't remember at that age like thinking entrepreneur, like I'm gonna make money. But
Yeah.
it may be because you're like the oldest of the family too.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest, so it's like
Oh,
more play for
okay.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You get to have a little bit more fun and not think about all
Yeah,
the
but
tough
that's so
things of the
impressive.
oldest.
Exactly.
It's hard to come by. Speaking about the payphone thing, it reminded me of a time which I wasn't as entrepreneur like you, or even
Yeah.
like idea thinking like that. What I
Yeah.
used to do is actually the payphones. I would put my finger on the payphone, and one like right where the coins is,
Oh,
and I was young and small enough where my
yeah.
finger like I guess touched something, and there's a bunch of coins that just popped out. And I'm
What?
like, okay,
Oh
well,
my
I don't know if I'm
gosh.
getting in trouble for this, but
Yeah.
I'm taking this.
Yeah.
But with the payphone thing, I remember that my parents, I used to live in LA,
Yeah.
and we used to live near the Van Nuys area in LA,
Oh.
and we used to do our laundry over there. And my parents would always say, okay, well, you know what, we're going to stay at the laundry. It's like an
Oh
hour, just
man. Yes.
we gotta get
I
the
know.
folding, and then during that time we didn't have a car, so we would
Oh
walk
my
to the
gosh.
laundry
Yes.
and then walk back, and then that's where I think I made some money. Right,
Uh,
it was only good for 2 days,
yeah, yeah.
but no, there's so that's why I think a lot of kids now they'll never be able to
Yeah.
do that again.
Mm-mm.
Payphones are gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
payphones are gone. They're like, what is that? Like,
Yeah.
what is a payphone?
I didn't even know what a check was when I was 9. I don't know how you would know.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. I was always trying to figure out something and listening. I think I'm good at listening.
Well, as again, being the oldest, when you were growing up, did you have a mentor in your life? Just someone that said, "Hey, you know what? Here's a little thing." I know that, everybody have that little. I mean, we are always good at listening, especially
Hmm.
if you, again, grew up in the street, and
Yeah.
you're always looking for new innovative things. And some people are talking about some language that sometimes you don't understand, but you're
Yeah.
intrigued about what they're talking
Hmm.
about because it might give you a little heads up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have any of those people in your life?
Yeah. I mean, aside from, I like I said, I learned from everyone. But in particular, I think that one of the main people, like this funny story. So again, I'm 9 years old, and I always wanted a big sister. Now I'm the oldest, so how
Yeah.
can I have a big sister? There was a big brother, big sister program. So I would call them and pretend to be an adult, but obviously they knew, I'm a kid. I'm like, yes, hello. My daughter wants a big sister. But I did this for 3 years.
Wow.
And finally, when I was 12 years old, they contacted us and they said, we think we found a big sister for you. And they asked me, do you care what the person looks like, how old they are? And I said, no. But I was very surprised to see a blonde, blue eyed, 50-something-year-old lady
Wow.
come to my house for as my big sister. And I was just like, this is not what I was thinking about. But I'm going to go with
Yeah.
it. I'm going to go with it. But she happened to be a professor at Fresno State.
Mm.
And she took me in. She had already adopted 4 Korean kids.
Wow.
So she went to Korea. She had initially adopted 3 of them. The oldest had stayed, I believe, looking for their mom. And eventually someone called my big sister and said, hey, we have another sibling out here. Would you come? And she had all 4 of them. And so, I was a little sister to the youngest one was Kaisa. She was 14, and then I was 12. Came in, and so I would go over there. Like with the Big Brother Big Sister program, they would just have you do like a little notebook, and you guys would spend like an hour or two. That was like the sign on as a big sister. Just agree to spend an hour or two. And I think it was only really once a month. With whatever the kid that you are connected with. And so my big sister was definitely a person that gave me opportunities to go to see what color guard group was, because I had no idea what that was. I went to one of the biggest high schools we had in Fresno, which is Buchanan, and it's ginormous. She it was funny because she just did something that's would be typical of a person, like when you're thinking, oh, what would Black people want to do? And she took me to a gospel concert. But it was nice. I mean, it was cool, but I was just like, I just thought that was so funny that she did that. But she definitely, she took me to the snow for the first time. She took me to a lot of different things. But later on, she told me, oh my God, do you know how we became big brother, big sister? And I mean, big sister, whatever, big sisters. And I was like, no. She said, they said that there was this tenacious little girl that called for 3 years
Oh my goodness.
that wanted a big sister and that we would be a
Aw.
great match. And so that's how we got connected. It was just being,
Wow.
consistent.
Yeah.
They knew. They knew who I was, even though I thought I was like being a little secret adult.
Wow.
So yeah,
So
yeah.
sweet.
Yep. So, and I mean, all my kids know my big sister. My
Oh.
husband, we go and have dinner
To this
with her.
day?
Yeah.
So you guys
yeah.
are still
wow.
connected.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, she just turned 78 actually.
Wow.
And now she has 4 grandkids,
Oh
2
my
boys,
goodness.
2 girls. No, 3 boys, 1 girl. Yeah, so
So
I
it's
see
like
her, I saw
it's
her
like a
family.
lifelong relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my daughters, they call her and this is so funny. I need to ask her this. I haven't even asked her, but you know how they always talk about Karens?
Yes.
She's white, she's blonde,
Yes.
blue eye, and her name is Karen.
Oh.
I had to ask her about
I
how does
know.
she feel.
Right.
She's not a Karen though.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny. I was like, my big sister's a Karen. Her name is
Literally,
Karen.
Yeah, literally a Karen.
But yeah, they
Aw.
call her Auntie Karen. And yeah, she's been there for, all of my birthdays since I was 12.
Oh my goodness.
And we ended up spending way more time than like the regular once a month kind of thing. And
Wow.
yeah, she knows our whole entire family. She knows my husband's family. She did through my baby shower. So
Oh.
yep, cool.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Is she still a professor, you said?
She retired. She retired probably 10 years ago. Her husband was also a professor, Rufus. And he actually built a computer for me personally. My first ever
Really?
computer.
Oh my
It was when I was
goodness.
18. Oops, sorry. Yeah, he built computers, and so he and his little group, they built me my first little computer.
That's sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So, Yeah, rest in peace, Rufus. But yeah,
Mm.
my big sister, she's retired, just helping with the grandkids now. Yep. And she's actually a piano professor.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Did you get free lessons?
No, you know what? No, I think she was so tired of
Yeah.
doing all of
Yeah,
that
it's like
that
I'm done. I don't want to come and do
yeah.
it at home too.
Yeah, I think they try to get her to at least teach the grandkids. So when she had time, I think she maybe got one of them in there,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I mean, it's having somebody like that in your life, and I think you brought up the word consistency,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because if you didn't have consistency, you never know.
No, yeah.
And
I
that's,
never would have met her.
I mean,
Yeah.
12 years old that you're doing that. Oh,
Yeah.
and now I always talk about, like, in business, when if people can if adults can go back to be a child, I
Mm.
think in entrepreneurship probably will be a little bit easier,
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
know and we just continue to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that's a big difference. But did you have a question?
Oh no,
Oh, okay.
you be
Yeah,
continue.
but through so that was during your middle school years, and
Yeah.
she was a part of your life. She's still a part of your life now.
Yeah.
But what about high school? Once you hit high school,
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of things changes when you're in high
Oh
school, 'cause you're
yeah.
learning a
Yeah.
lot of different things.
Uh-huh.
And when you were growing up during high school, did you have the same motivation that you had when you were 12 years old?
Oh yeah. So high school, I think that's kind of where I kind of got into more of my faith in high school. But I went to church with some of my friends. We kind of church hopped because I was waiting to connect to something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I am a rule breaker, but I like order,
Yeah.
you know. And so I've kind of went around to a lot of different churches, and I actually ended up really liking my husband's church that that I'm married to now. But I was probably 16, 17. Um, it was a very actually strict church.
Mm.
All the other churches, nothing against churches that let you wear spaghetti straps and booty shorts. Um,
Yes.
but I was confused. I'm like,
Yeah.
this doesn't make any
I would
sense.
question that too.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, ugh. Nice. It was fun going to Santa Cruz and different little, going to the
Yeah.
beach. But I'm like, this does not go with the Lord. I don't know. So my husband's church was like the total opposite. Long skirts, long shirts. And I was like, hold on, show me these rules. I can't just go by. I'm not a man-made rule
Yeah.
person. Like I need to see this, like break it down in the Bible here. But yeah, high school, I mean, I ran into, you have the career center.
Mm-hmm.
They were really a huge resource there, and that's where we did a lot of the testing. They'll test you and see like where your personality
Mm-hmm.
fits for
Yeah.
jobs. I forgot what it's called, like OP or something. I forgot what it's called, but I took a lot of the testing. The school counselors, they were really nice. One person that I'm not even gonna bring him up, actually, but he was there for the youth, and definitely just gave us opportunities. Took us to Fresno State. We went on. I joined the BSU Black Student Union. So all of the teachers that were there, really pouring into us, taking us on college trips, just having that um, access and that opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
even hear about the requirements to
Right.
attend college, what type of GPA you needed to have, understanding where geographically colleges were, because like I didn't know.
Right.
So yeah, there was just those types of mentors, the professors, I played basketball, I ran track. I was a captain of my stomp team. Just those people who were there kind of, I had one lesson kind of taught the hard way where I got kicked off of my basketball team. I was on varsity. It wasn't good enough to really be on like a real varsity team, but we only had 2 grades in our school because
Mm.
we were a new school. So I was in 11th grade on the varsity team, but I had to choose between going to the Black Student Union there because it was after school, or
Mm-hmm.
going to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you learn like communication is really important.
Right.
although I felt I communicated with my coach, she did not feel that way, and so she's like, you have to make a decision on if you're gonna stay on the basketball team or continue with your Black Student Union and your SOMP team. And so yeah, I just walked out. Like, yeah,
Sometimes you got to make those
I,
hard decisions.
I had to
Yeah.
make those hard decisions, and I did, and
Well,
I didn't regret it.
wow, that's crazy. I mean, in high school, did you meet your husband already, Chris?
Yeah, I did. I
When
met him. Actually, funny. I was in high school, trying to catch up, like get ahead.
Mhm.
It was like the summer before 10th grade, so I was like trying to get extra credits.
Mhm.
Chris was catching up on credits, and that's how we met. We
Oh,
met
okay.
in African American dance class,
Aw.
and he can't dance, but he was there, and he just started talking to me, and trying to get me to write because I used to write poems and everything.
Aw.
And he was like, I want you to write me one of those little letters you write. And so yeah, that's how we ended up meeting there in basically 10th grade. I was in 10th grade.
Wow.
Wow. Kids are
Yeah.
high school sweethearts
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah.
I said we're in my first little podcast because I started a little podcast, that one video
Yeah.
I told you guys about, and I said we're high school sweet tarts because
Aw.
sweet and sour,
Yes.
sweet and sour, still tasty,
You,
but sweet and sour.
you want to know something interesting? My wife is my high school sweetheart.
Oh,
And so I definitely understand what you're saying. It's
yeah.
up and down battles. The
Uh-huh.
longer you stay with them, sometimes you question
Yes.
yourself.
Uh-huh.
But,
Like
but you
what?
learn so much about each other that it's kind of hard to say no.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, for sure.
But
And I think you learn about yourself.
oh yes,
Yeah.
But
Yep.
with you and Chris meeting in high school, I mean, I know Chris on from outside playing basketball and things
Yeah.
like that. And you were in the basketball. You were the president of your stomp team.
Uh-huh.
You sound like a very, very, almost like a very, very competitive person too as well.
Uh-huh.
And I know Chris. He's kind of competitive to us. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
he
not kind of. He's
is.
very
He's
competitive.
extremely
Oh,
competitive.
and so do you? I mean, both of you have to like have stomped head when you guys were doing something like that. I mean,
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I like to think of myself as easygoing. He doesn't. But yeah, I think we're competitive in different ways. I'm not as vocal
Mm.
or aggressive in how I approach things.
mm,
I am direct, but I'm not, super vocal about things or aggressive about things. I believe in being assertive, so
Mhm.
you get your point across, but I don't think you have to be um, too rude about it or anything
Yeah.
like that. And also, I like to understand people. So, Chris, he has a different way of doing things, and so I just try to understand what he's attempting to do versus what it looks like he's actually
Mm.
doing.
Yeah.
And then, calm him down and just kind of try to find a way around it. And it's funny, like with Chris, he's very he has an aggressive personality, but he's actually like very sweet and humble. And so a lot of times I kind of push him to take more chances.
Mm.
And this is like a cute story. Before he went national, he worked for the Portland Trail Blazers. He came in with Damian Lillard, and Damian is now going to the Milwaukee Bucks, which Chris has wrote a story about. But Dame came in. I think they both started. I want to say 2011, maybe. And so anyway, I was asking Chris, like, what's next? Like but he was like, I'm gonna take over the whole Portland. Like, this is gonna be my spot, because really he didn't really have any higher aspirations than like this was big, and it was big. You're
Right.
traveling all over the United States. Can you imagine? You're just going to NBA games
Right.
and writing about like that's just bananas. And so eventually, 3 years down the line, he started thinking like, maybe I'll go national. And so I asked him like, you should go because there was a big game. Miami, was it Miami? And I forgot. Miami Heat is when there was LeBron and Kevin Bosh, or what's his name? Chris Bosh and
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade. They were all there, and I forgot it was like game. I want to say game 3 or something, and it was out in Miami. So I secretly emailed. I think you have to go through like the NBA. So I emailed the NBA because you got to get your credentials.
Mhm.
I emailed them. I called his friend. First, I called Mark Spears. He's another senior NBA writer. And I said, how do you get this little thing called a credential? Like, I don't even know how you do that. So he told me, you got to email this person. So I did that. And then I contacted all our family because we were still broke. Like, we were really check to check when he first started. And I called the family. I sent out little notes like, everyone, can you donate to be able to get Chris to this little thing before Chris knew. And then I said, you should really try to get your job to send you. He's like, they won't send me. I'm like, just ask, Chris, just see. And then they said, we won't. He was working for Comcast Sportsnet. They said, we won't pay for the whole thing. We'll pay for your hotel.
Mm.
And then I said, okay. And he's like, yeah, but even if they pay for my hotel, then I don't have a credential and it's all this. I'm like, I got a credential. I
Oh
have
my
the money for the
goodness.
plane ticket. You just get them to pay for the hotel, and then you got to go out there and you have to kill it.
Wow.
He's
Wow.
like, what? Oh my gosh. And he went, and it was funny because there was a guy who was like supposed to be a big star. I think it was Greg Oden, but he ended up getting injured. So he after the first year. So I forgot what they call it when you basically or retire after a year. But he just got all of these stories. He kept calling me, babe, I just got this big story. I just got this national people here, like I'm doing it, I'm killing it. And so that was the beginning because I told him, and I always tell everyone, before you can really succeed in anything, you have to feel the pressure
Mm.
of that thing to know that you can really do it.
Right.
It's one thing to think in your mind, like, I'm going to go and I'm going to be amongst millionaires and everyone's going to be, like you really need to know what that pressure feels like. Put it in your body so that you can be able to perform when a time comes. And I think that was just a paramount time for him to be able to be in that position, to be with, because everyone was there because it was the finals.
Right.
And for him to be successful. And so from there, LeBron ended up leaving, going back to Cleveland, and then they started this LeBron job in Cleveland. And Chris, he interviewed, and there was 1,000 applications, and he got the job.
Wow.
And so he was like, yeah, that really prepared him to know that he could go in and against the best of them because he was just before that he was just local. So
So you launched his national career.
I mean, I basically launched his
Yeah.
career.
So we're talking to the
We
boss
are-
now.
We are. We're talking to the
You
right
know?
person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they say behind every successful man, there is a woman with a vision.
Yes.
And you're truly that person for him.
Yes, and
My
that's what I
goodness.
always say. I think my family is full of visionaries, and
Yeah.
that's what I feel that I am. In anything I do, I don't try to. It always is manifest in my mind before it's manifest in reality.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
Wow, I
how
love that story.
I think, like what you said, you manifested, but I think one of the most important things is that you really took action on it.
Yeah, really acted on it.
And that's so. I mean, just imagine if you didn't.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
one little thing changes the whole
yeah,
perspective of life
Yeah.
for you.
yeah.
So wow.
That's
Well,
incredible.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
But
Sure.
no, I think with after with knowing about your personal, I think a lot of the things that we get from you is your motivation, your attitude, and I think in running any kind of business, you need that. Even though when you know that, hey, you know what, we might not be able to make it right now,
Mm-hmm.
but give it a year, give it
Yeah.
2 years, and it almost sounded like God had a plan for you during that time. And so
Yeah.
I go to church too,
Yeah.
and we did go to a strict church as well. It was a Baptist church that
Yeah.
we went to, and it was all the dress underneath the knee and thing. And in my life, like I had a mentor, I had a youth pastor that always said, "Even you always have to dress nice, be presentable and things like that." And you're right. Some churches are stricter than other churches.
Yeah, for sure.
But But starting off your business,
Mm-hmm.
with four daughters, I know you're working very, very hard.
Mm-hmm.
But when you were starting off, let's talk about the life coach. I want to
Mm-hmm.
know that. What did you do as part of your life coach?
Yeah, well, I became a certified life coach in I want to say 2013, maybe 2012, 2013. I was actually in a master's program to become an LPC, a licensed professional counselor.
Mhm.
And they had like an extra little course where you could become a life coach on the side. And there was actually a couple, a Christian couple, and they were just showing us really marriage coaching.
Mm.
Um, and so I was like, I really felt connected to it right away because, and with therapy, one of the things that bothered me about it was number one, that people did not change. Like,
Yeah.
and number two, that there wasn't a lot of courtesy given as far as like appointments. Like people would set appointments and not call
Mm.
and tell me they weren't going to come,
Right.
and it really affected my kids where I would plan to miss something because I thought I had an
Yeah.
appointment and then they didn't show up, and so I could have been there for that moment
Right.
for my kids. So I when I connected to life coaching, I really like that we did a readiness test. So really seeing if you're prepared for a change. And before I actually delve into like coaching a person, I like to know that they are willing and
Mhm.
ready
Mhm.
to change. And so I really focused in on college students and then young people that are in relationships, or even though you're older but young in marriage, and kind of coach people from there.
Wow. I think earlier we were talking about psychology. She
Hmm.
she actually is a
Yeah, I'm a psychology student too.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Congrats.
Yes.
What year are you in?
This is my third year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're almost done then.
Almost. Yes. Taking a
Oh
little break this semester,
yeah,
but almost.
yeah.
Yes.
You will definitely get there. Don't take a break too long.
I know. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But even with that being said, because I was like a year and 3 months out of completing my master's degree,
Mm.
but as soon as because we relocated, moved to Portland, and that's how we ended up in Portland initially,
Mhm.
is for the school. But I got pregnant as soon as I arrived,
Oh.
and so I never was sick with any of my kids, but I was sick for the first time,
Wow.
and I had
wow.
to postpone for a whole
Yeah.
year, the whole time I was pregnant. Then I had her, and then Chris got this job. And so it's just like, how do I tried my best to like
Right.
continue on. And it was a Christian college. So they called me in and they were like, look, Charlotte, sometimes, they always say this in church too. Sometimes it's just not your season. And I was just like, don't tell me when my season is. And so I'm just in there, like trying to go to school. And then one day I was sitting in class and people were just joking around, but my face was like a stone wall. And, I was depressed. Maybe there was some postpartum. I don't really
Yeah.
know. But sometimes you can pretend like you're okay and be like, and be
Yes.
sad at home. But it came to a point where I couldn't even pretend. And I was like,
Mm.
guess it's not my season.
Yeah. that
Now I'll
that
accept
confirms
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but with opening the store, because before I opened the store, which is only about 4.5 months ago, I was thinking about going back to school to attain my master's, or open the store. And with opening the store, it's like therapeutic. It's really
Mm.
it's so magical, like helping people. A lot of people come in suffering from alopecia,
Mhm.
dealing with transitioning with their hair to gray hair,
Right.
and accepting the aging. People are going through chemotherapy, so I'm in
Mhm.
there praying with people. I'm helping
Oh.
people with their first wig, or
Right.
their first topper, or their some type of oil to help grow their hair back, or just there's a lot of retirees that come in. Um, that are afraid. Some people on the verge of retiring, but they're afraid to retire because they hear about so many people that pass,
Mhm.
after
After
retiring,
retirement,
only
yeah.
6 months, a year out. And so sometimes I'm just there for a conversation. I pull up a little chair for
Yeah.
them and just listen to them. And so it's been really nice. I feel like I'm still using my degree and my,
Right.
life coaching skills and all of that stuff in the store.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Makes it like meaningful work too,
Yeah.
right? You open up the
Yes.
store with maybe with just the thought of like I'm gonna help people externally, but then it
Yes.
went into like an internal healing as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
been great. And I also always make sure to, I like to have conversations with people and learn what they do outside of just getting your hair done or
Yeah.
your little couple of makeup things. And so I just put a little note on their account. Like they're a financial advisor or a real estate
Mm,
agent or a tutor, or, they're a part of some mentoring program, so that when I come across a person that needs those services, I have that to offer, as well as, especially if there's a group of retirees that travel together or they go
yeah.
line dancing or whatever, I have somewhere to plug those people in. And so it's been really a community space. That's what I've been liking about it.
Oh wow. I'll
Mm-hmm.
have to come check out your place, Charlotte.
Yeah, yeah, come check it out.
Do you ever feel like with between being a mom and having a business and then life coaching as well, do you ever feel like you have enough balance or that you don't have enough time for one versus the other?
You know what? My husband will always, when I first opened, he's just like, now you're gonna know that it's difficult to balance things,
Yeah.
For me, I'm not, I think that it's difficult, but I have my priorities, and my
Mm,
priorities are my family.
mm-hmm.
And so what I'm attempting to do is to make my business work around my family, not my family work around my business. I
Mm,
believe that you should be there and be available. And so, obviously, I have to try to gain some good employees to
yes.
be able to do this. But I've had, just even in the first month, like my daughter had like a volleyball tryouts, and that was a challenge because I tried to have my other daughter come in real quick, and so I could go drive her. It was bananas, but
Yeah.
I definitely, that made me think, okay, you really need to get employees and make sure that they're there. But to me, like, yes, outwardly it is a balancing act, but internally, my main priority is my husband and my fam, my girls, and and also for me, I'm not the one creating this business. I'm not the one that gave me the opportunity. God is. And
Mm,
so if God be for me, no one can be against me, and I won't fail,
right.
because, I'm putting the correct things, the first things first.
Right.
So,
Your
yeah.
foundation's right.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
feel any, that's the good thing. Like, I didn't feel any nerves or
Mm,
uneasy or anything like that, or that I am going to that was my prayer. I made sure I
mm-hmm.
prayed and I said, God, just help me to be able to continue to be here for my family, and
Mm-hmm.
then also be able to open this business. But my family is first. So
Was there like a specific trigger or event that inspired you to open up the beauty business or to get into that type
um
of business?
yeah, well, you know what? We always have gone to the beauty supply store.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the beauty supply stores, they are Asian owned.
Mm-hmm.
Black people are the people that use most of the
Right.
supplies. And so I just started doing more research on it and finding out where to get the things from. And, um, I ended up going to what is it, like a conference in Atlanta.
Mm.
And just, the guy, I think his name was Devin Robinson, I believe. And he just talked about, the steps to opening a beauty supply store and things of that nature. I met a couple of women there. Only one of them actually ended up opening a store, and I ended up contacting her, telling her, "Hey, I'm gonna try to open a store," and she's like, "I'll help you." Then I got connected to a bunch of Facebook groups that also have people from all over that open beauty supply stores, and
Mm.
everyone's just been. I mean, it's all a godsend
Yeah.
of me being able to open it. But that was my inspiration. Like, okay, well, this is something that we use all the time.
Right.
Why wouldn't we have a hand in,
Right.
getting these products out? And also, it's just in Elk Grove, there's not a huge population of Black people there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not a lot of these types of stores.
Suppliers,
Yeah,
right?
and so I was just like, and again, I wanted that community aspect. So I really did want like a larger space,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll make and do with
Yeah.
what I have. And so yeah, I just feel like I can leave something for my kids
Yeah.
and expand upon this idea. And as I'm here in the business, um, I'm just seeing more opportunity, more that I can do, especially
Right.
on from a community perspective. And I love that it's helping everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I have black, white, Asian, Mexican, um, uh, Iranian, like everyone comes in and I get
Yeah.
to learn about everybody's hair and um, just the challenges in each community
Mm-hmm.
and be able to create something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's right. No, I used to wear a lot of hair extensions too, and I do. I used to go to like, is it Kingswig a
Yeah.
lot? Yeah, I used
Uh-huh.
to go there all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
I was telling even I was like, yeah, I'm like even me, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The extensions, like there's I tips, U tips,
yeah,
tape
right. There's
ins.
so much,
There's so much. And
so
it's
many different
really, really
types.
cool too. Like I always tell people, when their hair is thinning out or they don't like the color of it or you're going through chemo.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. We're gonna be right here with you.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about the beauty supply store is that
Exactly.
you can just throw a wig on there, throw some clip
Exactly.
ins, some tape ins, some tips,
Yeah,
something
there's a
in.
solution
Yeah,
to
there is.
everything.
And you're
Yeah.
you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be
Right.
okay.
And that's the beautiful thing. I think with women, like our hair is like so much of our identity
Mhm.
that if you have a space like that where all women can come in and, find a
Yes.
solution to their hair issues, it really does create like a sense of community and
Yeah.
comfort at the same
Yeah.
time
It's
too.
really, really nice. And one of my goals is I wanted to do a live pod on just hair. And I think the biggest thing that everyone is really, every culture, every race is transitioning to gray hair. It
Yes.
is scary.
Yeah.
It's scary for I personally love gray hair. I love
I'm
it.
slowly growing out mine.
See, I love it. I love the whole. But some people come in and they really embrace it. Some people they're just like, no,
Fearful of it. Yeah.
you know. And so I think just having a conversation
Right.
around that and talking about acceptance of that,
Right.
or even if you choose not to accept it and like covering it up,
Yeah.
like you should feel good regardless of which way you go about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just normalize any color and
Yes.
aging, right? Like it's just part
Yes.
of aging.
Yeah. And I think too, I think a lot of people suffer in silence from it, men and women. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny because I was talking to um, one of Chris's friends that's like an executive, and over the pandemic, everybody were basically growing their
Yes.
hair
That's true.
out.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh my God, I see all the, like Chris always says, you like old men. Because like with the gray hair, it just looks so sophisticated. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, so I was like, oh my gosh, you look so sophisticated with this new gray. I'm loving this. And he was like, oh yeah, this is just pandemic life. Once I finish, I have to take this all off. And I'm like, why? And he just like, you, even as a man, gray hair is just not okay. It depending
Mm,
on what area of
right.
work you're in, you need to look youthful,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I was surprised to hear that because with men, it seems like they don't need to
Yeah.
care about a thing.
Exactly.
It's like
Let
big
alone
old
hair.
belly, just
Yes.
hairy.
That is not true. You know.
Apparently, they have things they have to do as well.
They care
So
about their barber.
Well, that's the thing is that you speaking about during the pandemic. I go and get my hair cut every 2 weeks. Every
Okay.
2 weeks, and I always make sure that I have short hair and things. But during the pandemic, it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I was searching around
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
started going to garages just to go get my hair cut.
I know.
I
I
started looking
know.
around, started going to garages, and I'm like, I guess this is how it's gonna be from now
I
on.
know.
A
The
lot of
pandemic's
wives
crazy.
had to learn how to become barbers.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
tried and I failed.
Yeah, I've always edged Chris up. So if we're in a pinch, then I can
Oh
edge him
man,
up.
he'll be fine then.
Yeah, but yeah, unless he wants an even cut, I'm not the person. That's all I got, even
When I
cut.
first had my wife do my hair, I'm like, okay, well, make sure you just kind of don't go too far
Uh huh.
back. Just kind of go
Yeah,
with it. And then next thing you know, she went too far
Oh
I
back. I'm
my
like,
know.
gosh.
whoa, it looks
My
like we
husband
gotta go
never let
shave
me touch
bald.
his hair again.
Oh, did you go bald
I did
once?
go. I went
Wow.
bald 3 times,
Yeah.
and it
Wow.
was all clean bald. I mean, shaving all the way down. I don't
Whoa.
have the best round head, but I'll tell you this
Oh
though,
my
it taught me
gosh.
a lot. saying I should not go bald ever again.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Seriously. And that's what I was just like, I was actually talking to a lady about that in the store
Mhm.
because some people have the head to be bald and
Mhm.
some don't. And
Yeah,
if
some
you
people could
don't,
rock it very well.
yeah,
Others just can't.
I can't because I feel all the lumps in my head. I was like, it'll be all like, like
Yep.
crazy lumpy head lady
Oh, that's
head.
definitely with your well, so with your beauty, Charlotte's Beauty Supplies. When you started the business, do you have a goal? Kind of, hey, you know what? This is where how far I want to take the business.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I want to
Can
be
you
a $1 billion
a
business.
$1 billion?
Yeah,
Wow.
I want to be a $1 billion business, and so after about a year and a half, I plan on is to look for another location,
Mm.
and I actually went to a little mixer yesterday. It's called Wine, Women, and Wealth, and it was in Roseville, and I met a realtor there who was telling me about commercial property and the right way to purchase commercial property in order to expand. And so my plan is to either purchase a full commercial property or just get a second location and then franchise to be able to spread it quicker
Mhm.
and then eventually just go to the spaces of where I want to be as a beauty supply store.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's a big, I mean, that's wonderful because most people,
Mhm.
when
It
they
is a
come,
big goal.
it
I
is.
know.
No, but I don't think it's not
It's
impossible.
very realistic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen people in this business where we are, so we help a lot of people with different business owners, right?
Yeah.
And we help sometimes we help them expand their business to a bigger business, but
Mm.
which is not, again, not, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It does take time though, but I think having a clear goal like you do,
Yeah.
it's what makes the difference between your beauty supply and how people can reach out to you and get to you,
Yeah.
and how they can use your product and things into more areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the important part, especially when you're focusing on not just one particular niche, but you're
Mm-hmm.
focusing on a lot of different kind of people, like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the black community, the Asian community,
Mhm.
the different nationality that are coming to your
Yeah.
beauty supply. I think that's important to be able to use all different kind of things.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I haven't even gotten to it because my biggest thing was going to be medical grade wigs.
Mm.
But I have to become certified and then figure out the best medical grade wigs because there's also a lot of kids that suffer from alopecia. So I want to
Mhm.
make sure I can be able to get those types of wigs to them that have like special conditions.
Mm.
So uh, I think that this has to be like 2011, 2012, but I watched a YouTube video and this guy said, always think globally
Right.
and then bring it in.
Mhm.
Never think small and then try to go out. Like think globally, think as big as you possibly can, and then kind of pare it down. And so, but I mean, I always grew up thinking like that. So in general, and I mean, some people like to say it's wishful thinking, but I mean, that's just how my mind is wired. And even if it takes 10 years, I
Right.
think that I'll be able to accomplish the goal.
Mhm.
And really, like, it's just amazing, like, with the store, so many different people. Like, I can remember everyone because I purchased all of my fixtures used. I didn't buy anything brand new, not the slat
Mhm.
walls, not the shelving, nothing. I did everything very minimally, but everyone that I like, I got my shelving from an Arabic guy, as well as my slat walls, and then he connected me to this little market to go and get other supplies, and they just gave me like different little intel and insights on
Mm.
different things. Like you need to do this. They matter of fact Yoshef, he has a company, Good Guys. He's in Stockton, California, and they do restaurant supplies. So they
Mm.
wholesale restaurant supplies. But he just gave me so much information.
Right.
And then I had a lady, she owns a salon. I brought these little crystal things from her to hang. But she owns a salon in Stockton. And she actually came in the store like 2 weeks ago. She was like, "You came and bought the little?" I'm like, "Yeah." Then I had a guy, he owns I believe it's like a faux restaurant. Is it faux or fa?
Mm. Yeah, both.
Pho
Hmm.
restaurant. He owns one in Sacramento and then one here in Elk Grove,
Mm.
or we're in Elk Grove. But I got the little hooks from him,
Yeah.
and he was like just telling me like he had actually owned a beauty supply store. He and his wife, he said, in Elk Grove like 10 or 15 years ago. So he gave me insight on,
Yeah.
so everyone, every race, it was just like crazy. Like so many people just pouring like little
Right.
nuggets of knowledge into me. And I had like the AKAs, which is a sorority, one of Divine Nine sororities from black colleges. Um, they came out and they were passing out cards, and they even did like a little fundraiser where they were collecting old shoes for something for their charity. But it's just like so many people just coming in, and then even you coming out and just being there supporting and telling people about it. Like you got Lance Woods, you got just like so many people, and there's like little um I didn't even know. Like there's just people like come in like, can I do a video on your store? I'm like, go ahead. They have 20,000 followers,
Wow.
70,000 followers. Like a lady at Salon Centric was telling me, what'd she say? Mama Tot. I don't even know who Mama Tot is, but they were like, Mama Tot shared your video, your family, your store on her Facebook, and she has 700,000 followers on
Wow.
Facebook, 1.2 million followers on TikTok. I'm just like, this is all God, you know?
Yeah.
It's all God, and there's just like everyone is helping to spread Charlene's beauty supply. So
That's why
good.
this when you build it, people will come.
Yeah.
That's just how
Yes,
it
that is
is.
true. Yes, the field of dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Were there any specific challenges that you remembered when you first opened up the beauty shop?
Oh goodness, like trying to figure out how to do it. I didn't know anything. And that's why I
Mm.
said you can do anything you want, cuz I don't know really anything
You just
about.
learned as you
I
went with
learned
it.
on the fly.
Wow.
And like even trying to figure out how to set up,
Hmm.
like how to lay it out. I paid this guy to create, a mock up.
Yeah.
He said his computer crashed, and I waited like months. Um and I didn't get my little mock up on the layout. So I wrote it on a little piece of paper and
Yeah.
drew some squares and
Yes.
lined it up. And all of my neighbors, I had people that worked at Kohl's, Apple, they're an accountant. Everybody just came in giving little insight and like helping
Mm.
me to lay it out. And I had some of the ladies that the women came in and they stock stuff on the shelves. I think you should do the, we're just all like collaborating, like
Right.
how would
Wow.
you want it,
Brainstorming.
in every race, Asian, Mexican, Filipino, like everything you could think
Wow.
of, because our neighborhood is really diverse.
Yeah.
So I was like, what kind of products do you use and what do so it was just
Mm.
really, really a community effort. And I lean
Yeah.
heavily too on my daughters. Like, what are you guys seeing on TikTok? Like, what's the
Right.
cool
Like
thing?
what's the new
What's the
trend?
thing?
Yeah.
Because it just with the beauty industry, it changes so
Exactly.
quickly. And so I think that was the biggest challenge, is just like seeing it in my head and then making it come to fruition in
Hmm.
the store. And now my greatest challenge is really not being one of those black food places that always runs out of food.
Yes.
I'm just
Exactly.
like, I don't need to run out of
Right.
products,
So
So
Yes.
I'm
sometimes
trying
that
to
could be a
figure.
good thing. Sometimes that
Yeah,
could be like,
I
oh
know, but
man.
it's horrible when people come in and it's like, you don't have
Yes.
it. You don't. Okay,
Yes.
again. Oh, I came last time you said you didn't have it.
Hmm.
So just figuring out how to maintain the
The
inventory,
inventory.
how to like, continue to add new products, when to add them, how to, so those types of things.
Right.
Um, I'm not really focused on marketing right now because I'm learning the business,
Hmm.
and also making sure that I have the correct products. I don't want to. A lot of beauty supply stores, when you go in, they have a lot of everything. I'm a small store, and I don't want to have things that will get old and
Yeah. Or
unused.
not
And
useful.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, I really want to make sure that I have things that are going to fly off the shelf often. and then I'm always bringing in new things. So
Mhm.
yeah,
No, I totally understand the fear of not having things because guys wouldn't know. But when we were extensions, I mean, I've had multiple times where I go into the store and I'm looking for like a little hair glue,
yeah,
right? And that's the
yeah,
only thing you need to make it work and it's not available. It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. And it's frustrating to not have it. And what I really liked is that I had a few women that already had stores, and they're just like, look, sometimes you won't, like, they just pre warned me, like, you won't have everything everyone's
Yeah.
looking for. Learn how to redirect people,
Mm,
and get it next time. Like, just
right.
be easy on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. But some people will be like, "What? This is all." I had a lady come in and she was going off on me about this ponytail. Well, I think she just really she had a bad day.
Yeah.
But she really, and actually she didn't even get a chance to go off on me. She was going off on my daughters.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
And they were like, "Oh my gosh, mom, she was cussing us
Oh.
out." But she's just like a very kind of frantic kind of person
Yeah.
anyhow. And the first time she came in, it was a pleasant experience because I was able to give all of my time to her.
Yeah.
And I think she probably wanted some time.
same thing. Yeah.
And I had to go. That was the day I had to take my daughter for tryouts,
Mm.
and I was like out of there, you know. So I was like, ooh, whoop. She didn't write a bad review, thank God.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
great. I think sometimes kids needs to go through that little experience also
Yeah.
to get into
yeah,
the taste
yeah,
of the real world.
yes, for sure.
And and you're starting them off young, so that's great.
Yeah.
When
You
you
know.
have a business, you will get your share of good, customers, and then
Mhm.
it also comes with your shares of like difficult customers too. But then you
Ugh,
learn the most when you're dealing with difficult
yeah,
customers.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
we deal with people's money all the
Oh yeah.
time, and
Mhm.
Sometimes
it's
feel the heat.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, okay, well, we always bring in the
Mm.
good job and things like that.
Yeah.
But just like you saying, redirect them to the right place and
Mhm.
have it, as another thing later down the future, and that's what
Yeah.
we always look at. And connecting with people, I think you've connected with a lot of people since you
Yeah.
started this business. It
Hmm.
looks like you're getting everybody around you
Mhm.
as a part of a network.
Yeah, I mean, it's all God. It's pretty cool. I just like, what? Like there's a Caucasian lady that came in, really big personality, but she was looking for one of those ringlet wigs. I didn't have it, but like the old 1800 style ring, cuz she does costume design, and she
Oh.
retired, and she was helping some museum or something
Mm.
in downtown Sacramento uh, recreate these. I don't know. I think she said something about the war or something,
Mm.
war outfits, and I'm like, wow. So would you be interested in like teaching a sewing class? And she was like, yeah, I have 7 sewing machines, and I'm like, what? This is
Wow.
crazy, because to have that amount of, she was like, you know what? I probably won't teach them how to sew like a full bodice and,
Hmm.
whatever, but let me just start with showing them how to hem and how to
Yes,
sew a button on, because people don't have that skill anymore.
that's true.
Yeah, so I
That's
was
true.
like, that's good. Like, you'll learn how to hem your curtain or your
Right.
skirt, or add a button back on, but that's what I try to do, is just, oh, what are you looking for? And kind of just listen to their stories. And I'm like, wow. Like, there's so many people that have so much in them
Hmm.
to still share. And sometimes they just feel like they're done. And I'm like, what?
That's
All of
right.
that goodness just sitting
Right.
around at the house. Bring it on over here at Charlene's
It's
Beauty
like hidden
Supply.
treasure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been great.
I'm a firm believer. I think that's why we love talking to people because I feel like everybody knows something that I don't know. And the more I
Yes.
talk to people, the more I gain something in return too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why we started this podcast too, because everybody is like a book of knowledge. You just have to dig it out
Yes.
of them.
Yes. 100%. I love that.
So with I know that we what's it called? We talked more about your business,
Mm-hmm.
but is your husband a big part of the business too as well?
Yeah,
What does he do? It just doesn't sound like he does anything, but
well, you know what? My mom was like, Chris be working his buns off over there. Because especially in the beginning, I was, again, trying to figure out like the layout of everything. And Chris kind of gathered up all the guys in the neighborhood when I first opened the store, and they went and they put all of the shelves. None of the, well,
Oh.
I would say one or two of them like worked in the store before. So they kind
uh,
of were like figuring out how to put the shelving together. But it was just really cute that he gathered everyone up. I think they got up at 5:30 in the
Oh my
morning,
goodness.
and they got their different trucks, and they all went out there, put everything up together. I they Some of them helped to pick up the little glass shelving from all the different places that I got it from. So Chris is good, with rallying up all of his little friends. And
Yeah.
then even when he put on the little podcast, he brought the live pod. He just wanted to do something before he, ended up hitting the road. And like I said, he brought all of his different friends out, people that played overseas. He got all the shout outs from, yeah, the shout out from Chris Paul and Coach Brown, and we have another one that we haven't even put out yet, but he also got Shannon Sharp. And so he always does those types of things. So I told him he's my marketing
Yeah.
specialist.
Yes. He has the
Yeah,
platform. Yeah.
yeah, he does. And he has a good eye for what's important. That's
Mm,
what's really good about him. He has a good eye for, this is gonna move. This is
right.
gonna, you need to put this out. You need to put it out right now. Like Lala Anthony, who is married to Carmelo Anthony, who retired, but she has her own brand in Nala. And I just got a few of the bottles because I was like, oh, it has rice water. It's supposed to help, grow your hair back and work for all hair types. And so I got some, and he was like, I want you to make a video with that. My daughter, who's actually my social media person, she was like, I do not like how your head looked, because I did look crazy. But she's like, I did not like how your head looked, but Lala Anthony, they ended up sharing it to all of their followers, the little video.
Yeah.
And that was his idea. So, and not only that, like he'll come in and, move all the hair around if I needed to be moved around or up or down, or
Mm,
he'll be like, what, how many holes we have? And he
yeah.
even went shopping, and just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was in Atlanta for a training with his job, and he went to the store to the because most of the warehouses, a lot of them are in Atlanta, and he went shopping
Oh,
and
nice.
took all the stuff and they got it shipped to back over here. So yeah, he does a
Wow.
lot. Yep.
I
Well,
love
that's good.
how, like, for his career, like, you're kind of like the person who handles all of the back stuff. And then for
Yeah.
yours, he's the one who handles it, So you
Yeah.
guys really
Yeah.
support each other
Yeah.
in
It's been
that
really
sense.
good. It's super cute. I like seeing him
That's
help.
sweet.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good having a support system just like that. I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
like what you said, it really you've been with a person long enough, you
Mhm.
start knowing each other and complimenting each other in certain specific ways.
Yeah.
And I think now it's sometimes it's hard to come by that, because a
Mhm.
lot of I mean, I want to say like social media has changed a lot of the way people see.
Mm-hmm.
When I wanted
Yeah.
to meet another
Oh
person
yeah.
or something like that, I'd just go on to my Tinder or go on to somewhere else in there and
Yeah.
says, hey, you know what, let's meet up, or social media, and you've been talking to them long distance. But
Mhm.
I think that's what really builds the relationship is really being able to sit down, just
Yeah.
talk to people,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and have that decent conversation of how are you doing.
Yeah.
And I think in business, that's what's important too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so, like, for since she does a lot of nonprofit things, and I
Mm.
run a financial company, and we understand how the other significant other how they would complement us and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
help us throughout the way. But when you are doing that and running your business, I mean, and Chris is on the road all the time,
Mhm.
do you feel like, hey, you know what, we know that your daughters, they are priority to you,
Yeah.
but as you're running the business and your daughters are there, do your daughters see the vision that you and your husband see too as well?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I really like, is that they know that I've been talking about it for a long time, and I will always say, like, even if I'm not doing it now, it's gonna happen. Like, I don't
Right.
say stuff that I don't mean, and I'll come back around to it. And so it's cute. They'll be like, "Wow, mom, like you guys are really doing it. I see you guys." They'll
Yeah.
send us little messages, and Chris always has a little thing with the girls. Like he'll watch their little stories and see what they're doing, and then he'll send it to the whole family group chat, like, oh, I'm just this, or I'm just, so then I think Chris put something out, and then they'll do that back to him, so that's their little relationship. So if they see us like, doing something online, or if we're like when I go live from the store, like Chris, if he's gone, he'll say, "Come, be like, bring me into your little Instagram live," and then the girls will be like, "I saw you guys on Instagram
Yeah.
live. What are you guys doing? Oh, that's so cute. I love that," or whatever. So yeah, I think that they definitely see us, building and trying to move forward, and especially our older daughters, because we definitely didn't have any money when they were little, and
Yeah.
but they see the progress. They're like,
Mhm.
"Whoa!" Because I remember when we lived in an apartment, and now we own a house, and now we
Mhm.
have these cars, and now you have this business, and now saying,
Right.
so they can see the growth, and
Right.
so I think when you are around growth, then you want to grow more too.
Right.
So
And it
yeah,
empowers them that hey, if mom
yes,
and dad can do it, we can
yeah.
definitely do it as well.
Yeah, definitely, because I think they have even an advantage, an upper
Right.
hand because of really social media.
Right.
I mean, whatever you
Social.
want to
Yeah.
do, you can really do. Like,
Right.
you are the only limiting factor.
Mhm.
And I think that message is going out more and more now
Mm,
because a lot of the times most people only see a face value of what they see. They don't see what other people
Yeah.
see.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's sometimes hard to see the bigger picture if you've never been around people or your
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
family that has done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think sometimes you have to talk to more people, know more
Yeah.
people. And knowing for you and your husband, you guys have done it, your daughters and them, they're gonna see that bigger vision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's somebody I just remember that there's a guy that we work. He owns a huge company. I mean, over 3,000 people work for him, and
Mm.
so, and he said, dream so big that it brings fear to you. It makes you
Mm-hmm.
scared,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and so that's the only way you're gonna be able to chase after it. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you complete it
Yes.
somehow, you
Yeah.
feel like you've accomplished it, then you're eventually gonna stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think that's so powerful. And I think I see that in you where you dream so big
Yeah.
that you continue to go. And which I think that's great because not too much people can
Yeah.
do that again.
Yeah. No, and I also think that you dream big enough to leave space for God.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because it will keep you humble. It's like
Right.
being next to the ocean and you
Yeah.
realize how small you are. And if you ever try
Right.
to surf, you know how strong those waves are. Like I did, I like was drowning, like And they make surfing like someone that's a surfer that can really, navigate on those
Yeah.
waters. Like just they have power because you have to get in there, balance flat enough on
Mhm.
a surfboard, push out, swim out, and then you have to know which wave to try to catch, and then
Mm.
you have to stand up and then ride the wave.
Yeah.
Like that's real
There's an
life.
art to it. Yeah.
Yes, that's real life. And so, and you'll never get to ride the wave if you don't go back out there when
Right.
that water hits you, when life hits you, and you flip, the board flips over.
Right.
You keep fighting, and if you don't have enough to fight that day, you get stronger, you keep practicing, and that's just how life is, that's how business is, that's how relationships are. You
Right.
That's
keep
great.
fighting. Yeah.
Was there ever a time, Charlotte, where because you're doing your own thing, but Chris has such a big like media role with his career too? Have you ever felt like what he did? Did you ever feel like you were under his shadows at any point in life or within your
No,
relationship?
no, I never feel under the shadow of anyone because like I'm always operating in my space,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't have people that I'm jealous of,
Right.
or I don't feel like, I know Chris has a huge career, and a lot of times I guess people would feel like that, and that's
Yeah.
normal. Obviously, I could have, went to school and did my whole master's thing and done something to, you know, feel important, but I feel that what I was doing was important, which is
Mm-hmm.
taking care of our kids
Right.
and being there for Chris, and being able to travel with him.
Yeah.
And when I travel with him, and I always say, I personally think that wives or husbands, if your wife is the one that travels,
Mm-hmm.
and is the main person working, that you should be with them and have that experience and see the pressure that they have
Mm-hmm.
and that they're feeling, in order to have empathy in your relationship.
Mm.
Because when he first started, like it was lonely for him. what one of the things is that there are not a lot of black media members in
Mhm.
general.
Mhm.
And so, and also he didn't have the traditional background that everybody else had. He just learned how to write in college and then, moved to Portland, and they happened to give him a job and he learned everything on the fly.
Mm.
And so to go up against people who went to Columbia or
Right.
whatever writing school or, journalism program, you know, and people to be, young, because he was older. He was probably 29.
Mhm.
Other people started off younger, 21,
Right.
22 out of college, 23, and they had this little path that they went on. So I kind of went on the journey with him, and I would be in that, that environment and see, people not talk to him, or him staying past the game. The game's over at 11. He's still there at 2 o'clock in the morning
Mm.
trying to figure out how to type up this story or how to put it together. And just, it's a lonely feeling
Right.
when you're trying to climb and you really don't know what you're doing. And then on top of that, you come home and everybody's like, you ain't doing nothing over here. What is this? Or even if you're a wife or a husband that stays home with the kids, like, I think you should be there to experience like what that person is
Right. It's
experiencing.
hard. It's
It
tough.
is very tough. And, like for me, uh, I think with my personality is I don't put myself before everyone else.
Mhm.
And I like to understand where my kids are, where my husband
Right.
are mentally and
It's the
emotionally.
psychology.
Yeah, I just
Yes.
like, it can be a downfall. Honestly, it can be a downfall of, always giving people chances. I won't say I give people chances like to where I'm a pushover, but
Right.
just really trying to work with people where they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is to
Like
my
the benefit
detriment.
of the doubt.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And
yeah.
sometimes personally it can be personally exhausting too when you're
Hmm.
spreading yourself for everyone else
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say that I'm definitely learning. When I talk to my family prior to opening the store, it's like I'm going to have to make tough decisions
Right.
on, you know, if I'm going to be cleaning up this thing or if I'm just going to let you not wash these dishes today, knowing that I need these dishes to be clean so I
Yeah.
can quickly make this food and I can, or whatever. Or maybe you have to cook, or maybe, Chris, you're going to have to pick up the girls more or
Mhm.
whatever. So I had that conversation with them, but no, I don't feel in the shadows of Chris, because I mean, I know him, I know myself, and I also feel like I could succeed
Yeah.
at any moment, any
Better than
point.
him.
Right.
Hey, I always
Hey,
tell
she
people,
launched his career,
I'm
okay?
like, I feel like I am slightly the mentality that Kanye has, where he just thinks that he's great,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
do.
Right.
We are born in June.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tupac,
Hmm.
but sadly also Donald Trump. We're all born in
All the
June,
greats, yes.
where you feel like you just believe in
Right.
yourself, and I mean,
God's favorite.
I love how you say, we know our roles, because I'll tell you this, my wife, she is a stay-at-home mom for
mhm,
two boys, two
Mhm.
mhm.
crazy boys, I would say. And the people have always asked me, especially in the industry of, I'm always the face
Mhm,
of the family, and people see me through social media, through some of the magazines, and so.
mhm,
And whenever they said, "Oh," one time somebody had asked me, "Are you married?
mhm.
Do you have kids?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, of course I'm married. I have kids." But especially doing what you do is, I think a lot of people only see the front page, but
yeah.
behind it, there's a strong woman that has
Mhm.
built a strong foundation
Mhm.
for me to go back home to,
Yeah.
things are taken care of.
Exactly.
And I think I wouldn't be able to do that. I'll tell you that.
I wouldn't too.
I wouldn't be able to do that because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my, I'm always that type of person, on the run, on the go, go,
Mhm.
go. Never really, just kind of sit and relax. And I'm
Yeah.
always thinking of new inventions or new ideas, or
Yeah.
you know. But I think having someone like you, it's a big game changer. And
Mhm.
like you said, you and Chris are a high school sweetheart, and it takes time to understand that part.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, no, that I appreciate the moms that stays home and do those
Mm-hmm.
things. Because
Yeah.
again, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I know. I have kids too, and my husband's great with the kids. And I tell him, you're better than me. It's hard. I 100% give him the credit. I think the stay at home parent, you don't get rest, you don't get a break. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
so present for your kids.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people can do that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I really commend. I was telling Ethan, like, I commend his wife because I wouldn't be able to do that. I need to get out a little bit and meet
Yeah.
with other adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's tough. Were there any key lessons that you learned being a mom and trying to open up your business at the same time?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was a stay-at-home wife and mother for 13 years, so I've been
Mm,
there for a while. And I think one of the main things I had to learn as being a stay-at-home wife and mother is that it's okay to be that. I think one of the main things is I always talk to women that have careers
mhm.
and have kids. And so, like, sometimes there's women that just, they have their career and they don't have any kids yet.
Right.
And they're just like, you meet them and say, a lot of times, especially with being with Chris. So
Yeah.
I'll meet these women. A lot of times, people in his field just have nice, pretty wives, and or girlfriends or
Yeah.
their hangout friend or whatever. And they'll be like, "What do you do?" And then it's like, "Oh, I'm a stay-at-home wife and mother." And sometimes it could seem small, like the way that they look. They're just like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, I couldn't do it," or I wish," or whatever. But I think that it's the biggest job in
It
the whole
is.
world. It's the job that stops uh people from being school shooters.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
It's a
true.
job
Yes.
that,
Exactly.
stops people from, filling up prisons or being homeless or whatever. Like, it's an important job
It's so
to be a stay
important.
at home parent. And I think someone needs to do it. The
Exactly.
kids will be crazy, especially with the connection with social media all day long
Mm-hmm.
and all of the different lies that go on there, or even
Right.
just I can remember just the after dark things that you
Mm-hmm.
can see after 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Back in my day, it was only after 10 o'clock.
Right.
Now it's all day,
It's yeah,
every day.
exactly.
So imagine a kid just at home alone
Full access to all of that.
all
Yeah.
day long, and you have no filter
Right.
of what's real and what's fake.
Right.
And so I think a stay-at-home parent is extremely important, male or female, whoever
Mm-hmm.
it is. And I have a friend, her husband stays home, and she's out there working, and he's good at what he does.
Right.
He is really good at being a stay-at-home father
Yeah.
and a husband, and being showing up to events just like I was doing with Chris. And so, but it's just funny. It would be funny when I meet people and they'll be like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Stay-at-home
Yeah.
wife and husband." And they're just like, "Oh." But I always like to have conversations with people about, like, how do you feel? Because I did a lot of research when I was like 19 about stay-at-home parents, and in other countries like Sweden, all this, they get paid
Mm-hmm.
to stay
It's like
home
a full-time job. Yeah.
to connect and bond with their children and their
Right.
families. They have paternity leave and all of those things. So I think we need that here
Right.
in the U.S. Because the pandemic, it caused a
Oh
lot of
yes.
people to
Right.
divorce
Yep. They
because they're
did.
like,
Exactly.
"What is this? I'm never
Yeah.
with you this much." And
Right.
Yep.
with the kids, take the kids, you and the
Yeah.
kids leave. So
Right.
that's really funny. Like, Chris and I, we had a great time. We were just all over the place. Really, we were at Sonic. That was the only place you could go and, like, go get a drink. And people out there busting donuts and stuff in there, just parking lot pimping in Sonic. But that's what we did during the pandemic. But it was fun. You could drive all the way through San Francisco too. That
Yes.
was really kind of eerie. Like,
Yeah.
not even the homeless people were. I was like, what? Where is
Right.
everyone at? But yeah,
They're in
yeah.
quarantine, so you can't see them.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes.
know.
I know. It was crazy. But yeah, so I feel good about who I am and where I am, and also just being a mother, um and building a business. I feel like I'm being a good
Mhm.
example.
Right.
And if I can't figure it out, I just tell, it's just like when a kid falls and you're telling them like you're okay. But if
Yeah.
they see you fall and you get back up, I think that's more of a testament to them
Mhm.
than you saying, "Oh, you can get back up." You know how some
Right.
parents are like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you if I were doing this and but like, okay, well, mom, you're not even trying to do like don't tell me,
Exactly.
well, if I cooked it, well, you never even cooked this before. Please be
Right.
quiet. So like I think me out here saying you can build a business. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know everything. And them seeing me not have the answers, not know
Yeah.
everything.
Figuring it out.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's good. I've been enjoying it.
That's true. I mean, kids, they don't do what we say, they do what we do.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that's great. I mean, your girls are lucky. They really and they get to like be part of this business with
Yeah.
and part of the
Yeah.
learning process too. So
Mhm.
that's a really good start for them.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I always say like when people ask me, oh, what does what they know what I do, so they would ask me, what does your wife do? And I said,
Mhm.
well, she's actually the CEO. She's the executive stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and I said I still have to, get permission, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even permission, but I also have to talk to her and say, is this the best plan?
Yeah.
And so almost like a board member in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so I think
100%.
that's very important. But I'm glad that people are able to see this. It's just not in one person, but
Mhm.
it's a successful business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when we talk about business, it's basically a relationship with a business that you created. And
Mhm.
if you can be successful in that, you can be successful in your relationship in those areas.
Yeah.
But we are coming close
Mhm.
to the ending here,
Yeah.
and I would, if you can ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
awesome.
Okay.
closing
The
question,
closing
huh?
question.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
Yes, closing question. So, Charlotte, obviously, our podcast is called Journal of Journeys, and we
Uh-huh.
believe that everybody is on this journey of life. And
Mhm.
most of the times, we can't walk this journey for each other. We can only be there with each other.
Mhm.
And the only thing we can really do is check in on each other. So, what we like to ask our guests is at this part of your journey in life,
Mhm.
how are you doing?
I'm actually doing great. I
That's
think,
great to hear.
like I said, I feel full from seeing other people happy.
Mm,
Like from, like I said, their little toppers from the hair
yes.
thinning to praying with people when they're going to for their MRI results.
Mm.
Giving like a little kid with a hair condition their first little wig. Or even, I talk to some of the men and they're just about relationships a lot of the
Yeah.
time. They're just like, I'm gonna bring my wife in here. I'm gonna buy my wife something,
Yeah.
So I am definitely full and I'm happy. Like I said, I'm
Mm.
a psychology major. I have my
Yes.
bachelor's degree in psychology and my initial goal is to be a therapist and I'm a life coach. So I think this is right up my alley with just
Yeah.
being there, helping people and one of the main things I see is inspiring a lot of not just women. I had a man come in and he said, man, I'm a visionary. I could tell he was selling, he was there to sell something, but he was like, I just want to say this. I am a visionary and I see you are, and I've done everything. I did all the paperwork. I got the bank account. I got everything set up. And when it came time to pull the trigger, I just started on a new project. He was
Oh,
like, if this business doesn't go where you want it to go, just know that you're still successful because there's so many people thinking about it, doing all the paperwork
that's
on
right.
it, but they never actually go in and do it and take the full risk. And so, what I see and feel and hear from other people is that, you know, me being me and taking the opportunity is also allowing other people to feel like they can do whatever
Yeah.
it is, even if it's going back to school or trying out a little class at Cal Fit that you feel like I can't do it. There's too many people in there, and I never jumped before, or
Right.
Hmm.
So I just encouraging people to take a small chance, even if it's just trying out a lip tint that you never
Yeah.
thought you would try,
Right.
like a red. Oh my gosh. So I'm full and happy, and I'm always happy when I see everyone else happy.
Yeah.
That is
That's
great.
that's great. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you very much for being a part of this. We really appreciate it. And knowing more about you and your business. If you
Hmm.
are looking for more of Charlene's beauty supply and want to, visit her, we'll put her address
Yeah.
down there and
Yeah.
her website as
Yeah.
well. So just go and click on the link too as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we should be good. All right.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.